Hey, this is Pizza Dude Man, back for more answers for your guys' questions. Our first question today comes from Ridley Crade 187. Aside from Mario, Zelda, Kid Icarus, Fire Emblem, and any franchise that's already had one, which Nintendo franchise would you give an anime to? Yeah, a lot of the big Nintendo franchises I can think of that I would give an anime to already have one. So the first thing that came to mind for me, which maybe this is silly, would be if they made a comedic shoujo out of Chibi Robo. What do you think? Is that a little too far out there? That's the first thing that came to mind for me. Tale of the Toaster asks, which is your favorite Mario RPG? I've played most of them, and I think my favorite is actually Super Mario RPG, the old Super Nintendo one. Musomania27 asks, I've noticed that a lot of people don't seem to like Athena Sykes from Ace Attorney. Do you understand why? What are your thoughts on her as a character and part of the Right crew? I actually was not aware that she was not a very popular character. I thought that she was fine. I thought she added something to the crew that they didn't have. You know, they were trying to introduce a new element there. You know what I'm saying? Like, with Maya and stuff, you had the idea of seeing people's lies. With Apollo, you had the idea of seeing people's tension, and with Athena, you exploited people's emotions. So I thought, oh hey, that's a cool new idea to bring in that makes sense in this world. And I thought she as a character was cool and fit in. I had no clue that she was not a well-liked character, so I don't understand why. Maybe it has more to do with the fact that as she debuted, Maya stopped appearing. I mean, besides Apollo Justice, but yeah, I don't know. Super Mario Fan 03 asks, is mayonnaise an instrument? Depends on your definition of instrument. It is not a musical instrument, although you could turn it into one if you play it rhythmically with in some way. But it is an instrument of adding deliciousness to your food. Lord Genesect asks, have you ever played Project M? I know a lot about Project M. I've seen a lot of Project M. I have never played Project M. I'm always wary of getting things that are hack-based just because I'm an overly cautious person. But I've seen a lot of Project M, and I know pretty much most things about it. The Smashmaster 9000 asks, if Nintendo, Game Freak, and Capcom worked together and created a Pokemon Monster Hunter game called Pocket Monster Hunter, what would be your opinion of it? Well, that sounds cool to me. I mean, we've already started seeing Pokemon crossover with other things. We had that Pokemon Conquest game, and we have a Pokken Tournament, and Pokemon Go even. So that would, I think that'd be neat. Ultra Caden asks, if you could add any video game songs into Smash 5, what songs would you add? The first thing is, I'd love to see more third-party songs from companies that are represented, even if the games aren't represented. Like, we got a bunch of Mega Man songs, and we got a couple Street Fighter songs, but why can't we just have more Capcom songs that aren't related to those? Like, have some Phoenix Wright battle music, even if Phoenix Wright isn't a playable character. So I would add, you know, like, oh, the theme to Steel Samurai, and then maybe a medley of the Objection themes, and stuff like that. I'd also love to see them go back and add other Pokemon tracks, because I was very disappointed that they had barely any 5th gen battle themes. I was really hoping to have the Team Plasma theme, because that's my favorite villain battle theme, and I'm pretty sure they never had it in Smash 4. And so there's a lot of Pokemon music that they've missed because of timing. I'd love to see them just go back to that. I wouldn't mind getting more Mario RPG battle music as well. I would love to hear like music from Pokemon Coliseum and XD, even though that's, for whatever reason, unlikely. I guess those are all the big ones on my mind at the moment. Classy Polar asks, would you ever like to join a Pokemon competitive draft league? I'm not 100% sure what that is, because I know what drafts are for card games, so maybe it's relating to the Pokemon card game. But I think there's also a draft for just competitive Pokemon video gaming, so I'm not sure what is being referred to. On that note, I'm definitely not by nature a competitive gamer, at least not to the degree that the people who do competitive leagues are. Like, I can get competitive at stuff, but I'm not, like, gonna be committed so much at one game that I'm gonna be able to reach any kind of competitive level. So I just don't think it's the type of thing that would interest me all that much. Bobby Lopez asks, how do you feel that your old idea for Toon Zelda fighting in Smash is what they went with for Hyrule Warriors? So yeah, long time ago, one of my very first ideas for Smash Brothers was Toon Zelda being playable and her fighting as the Phantom from Spirit Tracks, and now that is what they are doing for Hyrule Warriors. I mean, honestly, it doesn't surprise me all that much because they were adding, obviously, Spirit Tracks references, and that is how Toon Zelda fights in Spirit Tracks as the Phantom. So it doesn't surprise me, or I'm not like, oh wow, they used my idea. But it is still really cool for me to see. I'm like, yes, this is something that I thought of that is coming to fruition in something. I actually really liked Spirit Tracks. So I'm glad to see that being referenced. That's how I feel about that. I'm generally in favor of it. Chicken Crispies asks, do you prefer ice or fire levels in video games? I prefer ice levels. I like them stylistically more. And both fire and ice levels have certain connotations for me. Like, ice levels I see as annoying, like if you slip around a lot in platforming games, where fire levels can be really stressful to me. Like, there's lava and just fire-based obstacles everywhere. It's just like, oh god, I don't want to touch that. So, just because of that, too, I tend to like ice levels more. Zenora asks, what's your favorite color and why is it purple? So I don't know if this is a joke or not, but purple actually is my favorite color. The reason purple is my favorite color is, as a kid, I would always switch around what my favorite colors were, but they were always the things that were really, like, vibrant and really stuck out. Like, for a while, green was my favorite color. Purple became my favorite color because in school we learned about how purple was the color that royals back in the day used to wear. And for whatever reason, that made me decide right then and there, oh, purple's my favorite, because it stands out and it's very noble. And that's just how I've tended to think of purple ever since. I really like it. Internal Inferno asks, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I'm not sure if there is an official answer to that. However, I did a lot of tongue twisters growing up because I was in theater, and we made up a couple harder versions of that tongue twister, including how many clams can a clam can or can if a clam can or can clams, and let's see if I can do this one. How many turtles can a turtle herder hurdle if a turtle herder can hurdle turtles? So, there's a couple new ones for you to try. Lord Jackal asks, hey, what time is it? Where's my family? That's the correct response, is where's my family. That is a reference to a very old video that Lord Jackal and I did. So you can look that up on Harmpit Productions. It's like the first featured channel on my channel. So PSB123 asks, with the NX coming out only a single year after the DLC was done for Smash 4, when do you think Smash 5 will be released? The big rumor right now is that one of the launch titles, or one of the soon titles of the NX, will be a port of Smash 4 with the DLC included, plus a few new characters and maybe even more characters added as DLC. So that's just a rumor as far as I know. If that rumor turns out to not be true, I'm guessing a new Smash Brothers around 2018 to 2019. I'd say 2019 just because the NX isn't even going to be released till 2017. So I'll say 2019 for the next new Smash Brothers game, only if they don't do this port. Here's another question from Ridley Crade 187. At what point do you consider a character to be too powerful, and which characters skirt the line for you? For me, there are two situations in which a character can become too powerful. One is if they start being able to bend the very fabric of reality. Like, they literally have reality-bending powers. Now, that can work if it's done in a comedic fashion, or if it's not done until the very end. Because, like, the biggest example I can think of is Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, where by the end of it, yeah, the main heroes can pretty much bend reality to their will. But it's in the finale when that happens, so it's not really a big deal. The other one is when a character has been made to be literally invincible. And I think the example here goes to Screw Attack Death Battle's analysis of like Superman versus Goku, they've always had Superman win because besides the kryptonite weakness, Superman is literally invincible. So once again, like, and you know that, and it works for Superman, I think, because as they point out too, the focus of Superman is not Superman beating the villains. You know Superman's going to beat the villains every single time. The focus is on, you know, his clash with you living on Earth and living among mortal men when he is a god. But yeah, I mean, I always think, honestly, that watching Superman fight is pretty boring because unless the enemy's packing kryptonite, you know he's gonna win. Bobby Lopez asks, what were your favorite announcements in the recent Nintendo Direct? The Super Mario Maker stuff was pretty neat. I'm not sure if I'll get it, but it's a cool idea. I guess the same goes for the Animal Crossing and Hyrule Warrior stuff. It's all stuff that looks new. I don't know if there's anything that really particularly excited me. I think the biggest surprise for me was the new Pikmin game that's a side-scroller. That actually looks pretty fun to me. We haven't seen any, like, Pikmin spin-offs before. Everything's been a main game, you know, Pikmin 1, Pikmin 2, Pikmin 3. So, seeing a new Pikmin game in this style, I think is pretty interesting. I guess there are some people who are upset by it by some stupid reason. But I guess the thing that was the most exciting for me, because I already know I'm getting the game, and this is a kind of a personal thing for me, is the Snorlax with an exclusive Z attack. Because Snorlax has always been one of my favorite Pokemon, so I'm really glad he's getting special attention. That actually is like the thing that excites me the most, which I don't know if that's sad or not. Oh, I was actually excited by Dragon Quest VIII coming to Nintendo. I just wish it was coming on a console rather than 3DS, but at least it's coming in some capacity that I'll be able to play it. Ultra Caden asks, what do you think of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2? Do you think it's cool, and would you ever plan on LPing it? The only thing is I'd have to get a console that plays it. I'd consider doing it. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago that Xenoverse 1 came out, and I don't know how much you could add, because, I mean, the whole focus was changing the timeline of the things that have happened, so what, do you just do that again? But it's different, and then I guess you can add the Dragon Ball Super stuff that's come out so far, but that's not done yet, so they're just gonna perpetually have more Xenoverses. I guess that's the point, cash in on it while you can. So I might be interested in doing Xenoverse 2 someday, but it is not a priority for me. Chicken Krispies asks, what game has your favorite art style? This is going to be kind of a vague answer, but I really like it when a game has a very direct sense of an art style that it's going for and fully immerses itself in it. Realistic games are fine, but I always think that, like, hey, if I want to see realism, I'll just go outside. I want to play a video game and be immersed in a fictional world, which there's something to be said about making video games look as close to real life as possible, but it's just not my favorite way to go about it. So for the longest time, Wind Waker really fascinated me with its cell shading. You know, when people were so sure that it was like, oh, we can make Zelda look really realistic, they didn't do that. They went for this incredibly cartoony style that I really liked. As far as games that really immerse itself in its art style to an exciting degree, the things that come to mind to me immediately are Okami, Ori and the Blind Forest, and the upcoming Cuphead. PSB123 asks, on the topic of a Smash fighter with a moveset based on wind element attacks, which character would you pick for a personal choice, and how likely do you think us getting a wind fighter is? Okay, well, the first thing is you need a really strong Nintendo character who happens to fight with wind-based attacks. You know what I mean? I've never been an advocate of adding characters into Smash Brothers purely for their moveset. If they have a unique moveset and they're a really great iconic character, that's awesome. But if it's just that they'd have an amazing moveset, I don't think that's enough. That being said, I think the obvious choice is Vaati from The Legend of Zelda. I mean, here is a literal wind sorcerer with a pretty good following, and among Zelda villains, a pretty good amount of recurring roles. Last question today is a third one from Ridley Craig. Favorite Nicktoon? I can't imagine my answer being anything other than SpongeBob, because I watched so much SpongeBob SquarePants growing up. Now, since I watched it from its debut, the time I stopped watching SpongeBob was around when it started having its new episodes and new writing that people talk about, which honestly I haven't seen very much of, so I can't vouch personally for whether it's good or bad. But from what I remember of SpongeBob is that it actually had some pretty clever writing and visual jokes. And I really liked that growing up. I could recite entire SpongeBob episodes. And with that, that's going to be it for subscriber questions this week. Make sure to leave me any questions I didn't get around to or any new questions that you have, and I will see you next week.